there, YouTube yogis. Time for another class. This one we're gonna open up exactly as you see here, kneeling, sitting back on the heels. And if that's not conducive for your body, just come to some other seated position. Close the eyes if that's comfortable to you. With every inhale, I want you to focus on sitting as tall as you can, but resting the shoulders down. And with every exhale, at the same time, try to get a little more grounded. Then we're going to shift into a different shape from here. So you can tent the fingertips out in front of you to come off of the heels. Then let both of the feet sweep over towards the right as you sit back down all the way now onto your mat. So you'll feel this asymmetry at the hips. Inhale, the arms come up overhead. And exhale, hands to heart center. Now we're going to place the right hand off the side of the mat by the feet. Left arm will lift up and then take an exhale to side lean over towards the right. And you can shift your gaze up under that left arm. And then use that inhale to come back to center. And now that right hand will come over to that left knee, left arm up, and exhale to take your twist left. So you can build core strength by keeping the left arm reaching back, focusing on sitting upright, but you can always tent those fingertips down behind you. And then use your next inhale to face forward. We'll come off of the hips. Find your tabletop, hands and knees. Take a moment to spread your fingers nice and wide. Check that the hips are over your knees. And then extend your right leg into the air for your three-legged tabletop. Hug your navel up towards the spine, and then we're going to extend left arm out. Then take that left hand to the back of the head and press the head into the hand and lift that elbow. Inhale to lift the elbow higher, the gaze and the heel. And then the exhale will crunch under knee towards that elbow. Inhale again to press up. And exhale to curl in. Inhale. Exhale. One more breath in. And exhale. Then inhale, extend that arm long. Let's drop the left hand down, kickstand left shin a little wider, and stack that right hip on top of the left. So the leg can stay floating as you reach this right arm up and circle out that wrist. And we can go towards a bind here if you'd like. Bend into that right knee. Try not to let the knee shift up or down. And then take a hold underneath that heel, continually pressing the hips forward. Now release the bind and drop that foot down. The right arm is now going to reach all the way towards the top end of the mat, so you're creating length for that right side body. You can stay here or build a little more core strength by getting lighter on those left fingertips, and then float that arm out in front as well. And then look down. Let's return both hands to the mat, facing forward, stepping this left foot to meet your right foot, high plank. And exhale, let's go to your downward facing dog. Let the feet walk in a half step or so, and then pedal into each of the feet. Let the hips sway. Explore this first downward facing dog. And then pause in stillness. Then inhale, lift the heels really high. Exhale, bend knees and look forward. So walk the feet to touch at the top of the mat, bring the toe mounts to touch with space at the heels, and then exhale to fold. Come all the way up to standing on the inhale. Add the arms to sweep up overhead, and then exhale, hands to heart center. We'll go right back up on the inhale. Sweep high, and exhale, forward fold. Hands to the mat, bend the knees as much as needed. And then take a step back, high plank pose. Drop the knees down to the mat. Let's take our first low plank. Glide forward, bend those elbows only 90 degrees. Pause here. Squeeze the elbows in, hug your navel to your spine. And then inhale, straighten those arms. Press your heart forward, crown of the head straight up towards the ceiling. And down dog, let those hips rise on the exhale. So a few breaths here, settling in, a little less movement than your first dog. So now we're going to float left leg into the air, three-legged dog. And then step that foot about halfway up the side of your mat. Let the toes face off the side of the mat and wiggle so you're on the blade edge of that back foot. Now check to make sure this left ankle is under the knee and the knee is coming out from the hip. And then you might sweep that left arm up for a variation of side plank. Hips are pressing high to the ceiling. Left foot is strong, and then you can take this left arm and reach it once again towards the top of the mat. Now look down, return that left hand to the mat, come to the ball of that back foot. Let's pick this left foot up, kick it back in the air, three-legged dog, and then step it all the way forward to the top of the mat. Lunge into that front knee and sweep up into your high lunge. Set that right hip to face forward. And now take the right palm to face the ceiling. Left hand will circle that wrist. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, take a dive to the left. Gaze can look under right arm. Keep bending into that front knee. Inhale, come back to center, lose your bind. Straighten through this front leg. Arms will go wide and now they interlace at the low back. Roll the shoulders down, send the knuckles down and inhale the chest higher for an early back bend. Scissor those thighs together so that right hip is still pointing forward. Now rebend into this front knee as you come back to center and take a little lean out. So we're hovering over that left leg. Now we're floating the arms off the back. Get ready to step forward, right foot lighter, step it all the way to the top of the mat. Inhale, sweep those arms up. And as you exhale, bend to the knees, chair pose. We'll take a lower chair pose by bending knees further, pressing those hips back. Let's take hands to heart center. Breath in here, sit tall. And on the exhale, we'll take a twist to the right. So you can drop this left elbow down between the legs, maybe even to the outside of that right thigh. Check in to make sure that left knee has not crept forward. And challenge yourself to sink the hips another inch. Now let's release by forward folding hands down to the mat. Take your step back, high plank pose. Low plank on your exhale. Upward facing dog, straighter arms, strong legs, and downward dog, exhale. Let's take that left leg into the air again. This time we will pause by opening the hips. You can bend into that knee and then lift the knee higher towards the ceiling, stacking that left hip on top of right, but really making sure the right heel stays behind you. You should not see that right heel in your gaze. Now take a look forward as you straighten that leg and step. Left foot inside left thumb once again. This time we're going to drop that right heel down, float this right arm up, and use leg strength to come up to your warrior two. So take a moment to settle in. Shoulders are directly over the hips. You might want to wiggle the feet even wider apart from each other. Then set the gaze forward. Reach that left arm out, drop the elbow to the thigh as right arm comes over for your side angle. We're gonna work a bind here so that right arm can wrap around your low back. Really roll that shoulder open. Going a little further, you can slide this left elbow inside the knee. Maybe the fingertips can touch down towards the floor. Going towards a full bind would be that left hand going underneath, trying to tickle the right fingertips. Then with your inhale, unbind whatever you have, come back up to your warrior two. Hands to hips, straighten that front leg and let the left toes dial in. So we're setting up for your wide-legged forward fold. Prasarita A, hands at the hips, tilt higher, inhale, and exhale, take that lean out. So hands will then come down to the mat. Press the mat away from you, long spine, breath in, and then exhale, bend the elbows straight back for your fold. Now let's walk to straight arms again. Hands might be under your shoulders. Finding some side lunging. We'll start by bending into that right knee and the hands can walk over with you. Inhale, find two straight legs. And exhale, take a bend to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale to the right. Inhale. Exhale, left. Inhale, exhale, right. We'll pause here. Now let's bring hands down to the mat. See if you can sink the hips in a couple inches more and flip these left toes up towards the ceiling. So now the stretch is behind the leg instead of the inside of the leg. Hands can press at heart center, or we can work another bind here. So the right hand would go to the back of the mat in front of that shin, and maybe it reaches backwards. Left hand can walk towards that left leg and find a wrap around as well. Now release a bind if you have it, hands out in front of you. Let's sink down to the mat. So any way you need to, let's drop the hips down. Take this right foot and face it forward so your left leg is straight and you've got a bend in that right knee. Let's add a twist. So let's take that right hand back, left arm up, breath in. Exhale to wrap around that knee and take your twist right. Check in that that left foot is strong. Press out through the heel. And just like earlier in class, you can keep this right hand down or you reach it back. You might like a half bind around the low back. I'm not sure, maybe you're sensing the theme, lots of binding. Sit tall on your inhale and then unravel yourself face forward on the exhale. We'll now take this right foot on top of your left thigh. So you're setting up for that figure four. Hands behind you, bend into this left knee so you get some opening for that right hip. Straighter arms, press your heart forward and use the strength of the hip to guide right knee away from you. And then we'll take a counter twist. Right arm up, breath in. Exhale, slice across, and somewhere along that right arm can find the sole of your right foot. Then gaze forward. Hands down, let's drop that right leg long, left leg can straighten, give a little shake. And then we'll come forward for a vinyasa. Hands plant at the top of the mat. And then you take a step back for your high plank pose. Next exhale, take it forward and then lower. Upward dog, breath in. And downward dog, exhale. And sit the hips back onto the heels for a moment. So the hands can be face down on the thighs, roll the shoulders back, press the tops of the feet down, the shins down. Maybe you can get a little lighter on the heels. And just come back to your breath. And then the hands can rest out in front of you, bump the hips up, feet towards the left, and then you can rest hips back down. One breath to sweep the arms up. And the exhale, hands to heart. Let's take the left hand over by the feet and the right arm up, inhale. Exhale, lean left. So you're almost turning yourself towards the back of your mat so you can look underneath that right arm towards the ceiling. Inhale walks you back to center. So let's take this left arm, slice it across. The right arm extends up and on the exhale reaches back. So if you're keeping the arm extended and lifted, float the palm to face upwards, or you can always tent the fingertips down. and then release to spin yourself and face forward. So roll onto your knees, find tabletop, spread the fingers nice and wide, and then extend left leg in the air. Be sure to point the toes down, right arm out, and then let that hand half basket the head. Press the head into the hand. You'll feel the head lift up a little bit, and then a breath in, lift the elbow, gaze, and foot, and exhale, curl it in. Smooth inhale, so no rush here, lift, and exhale, curl. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Inhale, extend the right arm out, and then lower the right hand down, kickstand right shin wider, and stack that left hip on top of right. Left arm can now reach up, spin out that wrist, and really kick through that left heel so the leg is strong. Going towards a bind, you bend into the left knee and the hand just comes right underneath the heel. Press the hips forward. Now release the bind and drop that left foot down at the back of the mat. Left arm will reach out in front of you so you've got that grounded side angle pose. Going further, come to tented fingertips on that right hand and a ton of core to reach that right arm out as well. And then let's lower. Right hand down, left hand down, face down towards the top of the mat. Step your right foot back, high plank, and exhale, low plank. Upward facing dog, inhale, and downward facing dog, exhale. Now let's float that right leg into the air, three-legged dog, and then step that foot about halfway. Right toes off the side of the mat. Let's come to the blade edge of that back foot. Just check in 90-degree angles from hip to knee, knee to ankle, and then you can unload that right arm up. So the hips are lifted high, and then the arm can reach towards the top of the mat. And then right hand down. Come to the ball of that back foot so you can sweep right leg in the air, inhale, and exhale, step it forward, coming to your high lunge. With your inhale, those arms reach up overhead. Flip your left palm to the ceiling, right hand circles it, dive up, inhale, and to the right, exhale. Try not to lose any bend in that front knee. Inhale back to center, hands release, straighten your front leg, and then take the interlace of the hands at the low back. This one might be the awkward grip, the opposite thumb on top. Inhale, roll the shoulders down, lift your heart, and exhale, take that spinal extension. Inhale, come forward, rebend into that knee, and take a lean out. Think of a diagonal line from crown of head to heel, floating those arms off the back. Now see if you can get lighter on that left foot. Take a couple steps or one big step to the top of the mat. Inhale the arms up overhead. And exhale into your chair pose. So bend into the knees. Hands can come to heart center or you extend them up overhead. Lower chair, sink those hips. Breath in and exhale, twist left. So the elbow can stay in space or it can drop down on the thighs. Right knee should be in line with the left one. Next exhale, forward fold, hands to the mat and pause. Separate the feet about hips width distance. We're going to bend into just that right knee and then walk the hands over towards the right. Let the head hang heavy. If you want to take it one step further, peel the inner arch of that left foot away from the mat And see if you get that sensation along the outside of left leg, so your IT band. Lower that foot, bend both knees, come back to center. And now let's take it over towards the left. So you're straightening that right leg, the left knee stays bent, head releases, and the inner arch of right foot may pick up. And then both feet down, hands to the mat. Inhale to find your high plank pose. And exhale to take your low plank. Upward dog and downward facing dog. Right foot lifts into the air. Now let's stack the hip, right knee bending. See if you can lift that knee higher, but get heavier through the heel. And that left foot staying as grounded as you can get it. Then look forward, straighten the leg, and a big sweeping step to the top of the mat. Left heel comes down, so it's that warrior two foot. Left arm leads you up to find your warrior two. Then adjust as needed. Challenge the feet to go even further apart from each other. Side angle. Glide out, right elbow down, left arm reaches across. Working a bind, the left arm around the low back, pretty accessible. Then you get lighter on that right elbow. Fingertips could come down to the mat, or they creep underneath the leg and work towards a bind. Roll that left shoulder open. Unwind, unbind, come back to warrior two. Hands to hips, straighten the leg, and set those right toes in. So we'll come to your Prasarita C. Let the arms go wide on the inhale. Interlace at the low back. Another inhale, lift heart, and the exhale to lean out and forward fold. See if those knuckles can press up towards the ceiling and help create some space between shoulder and ears. And come up about halfway so that you can rest the hands down to the mat. And then bend into your left knee. So hands can stay grounded. Inhale, two straight legs. Exhale, bend right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Pause in the exhale to the left. Try to sink the hips even deeper so those right toes can flip up towards the ceiling. You can walk the right hand inside that right leg and wrap around low back. Left elbow in front of the shin as the arm goes towards the left, and you could work a full bind. Then lose your bind and very carefully sink your hips down. Take this left foot to face forward, and you can keep the bend in the knee for your Marichi twist. So the heel presses forward, left hand back, right arm up, and exhale to wrap that shin and turn left. Fingertips can absolutely stay down, or they float, or half wrap. Press out through your right heel. And then turn to face forward, release your bind. Let's take the left foot on top of your right leg. Hands then release behind you. Slide this right foot closer to your body. Activate your left foot and press that knee away from you. Sit tall. And then we'll counter twist. Left arm up, inhale. Exhale, that left arm finds the sole of the left foot. And then release to face forward, the hands down. Take this left leg off. The right one can straighten. Give a little shake. And then press out through the heels. The toes angle back towards you. Sit tall, breath in. And your Paschimottanasana, seated forward fold, exhale. Breath in, sit tall. Breath out to release. Now let's cross over, hands to the top of the mat, feet to step back, high plank pose. Exhale, low plank. Inhale up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Now let's come to sit. Come all the way down to your back. Wrap the knees in, give a hug and a rock side to side. Find a happy baby, feet face the ceiling, draw the legs down. And we'll come to a few moments of rest. So let the legs go long, let the arms go long. Take a deep breath in and out. Enjoy these next few moments of stillness. And start to move around. Take some breaths. Wrap the arms around the knees and take a light landing on your right side. And then come all the way up to a comfortable seated position. Hands can find heart center. Thank you so much for joining in practice today. Don't forget to subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and write in the comments what you'd like to see in future classes. Namaste, yogis.